this team. You don't replace a Mitch Marner. How do they do without him?
Well, yeah, you don't replace the point production, but obviously I don't think it's a bad thing for the Leafs or Mitch Marner for a change of scenery, because they haven't gotten over that hump come playoff time, and another great fight and battle against the Stanley Cup champion.
Mitch Marner is out. 4 new names are in, and Leafs fans can't stop talking. Toronto didn't wait to replace its star forward. They used his salary to spread talent across the roster. But this wasn't just a trade, it was a message. The front office made a move that shocked analysts, stunned supporters, and changed the entire conversation about how the Leafs planned to win. The Toronto Maple Leafs traded Mitch Marner to the Vegas Golden Knights on June 30th, 2025. Marner signed an 8-year, $96 million contract before moving to Vegas. In return, Toronto received center Nicolas Roy, who had scored 15 goals and 16 assists last season for Vegas. The trade ended Marner's 9-year run in Toronto, his only NHL home since being drafted 4th overall in 2015. Marner posted 741 points, 221 goals, and 520 assists over 657 career games with the Leafs. In 2024-25, he achieved a career-high 102 points, including 75 assists, placing him 5th in NHL scoring. That made his departure even more significant. He was a key playmaker and a leader. He played a major role in power plays and top lines. Immediately after the trade, the Leafs turned their focus to replacing his $10.9 million cap hit. They announced a $10.5 million acquisition plan involving 4 players. This group included Nicolas Roy, Matias Maccelli, Travis Boyd, and Benoit-Olivier Groulx, all signed within a tight budget. The new additions were meant to spread Marner's production across multiple players. This approach contrasted sharply with simply signing a replacement star. The announcement received strong pushback from parts of the fan base. One article labeled it a biggest mistake in years and warned that replacing a high-scoring star with lower-impact players could hurt the team's offensive strength. The piece described the move as a controversial gamble that split opinions across the league. It emphasized that critics view this as a downgrade in pure talent. Analysts reminded fans that managing cap space is complex in Canada. Under the NHL's new collective bargaining agreement, teams have limits on signing bonuses. This change affects Canadian teams more due to tax rules. The new structure capped bonuses at 60% of a contract's total value. That means signing big contracts now carries different financial weight. Toronto lost some flexibility with that rule. That shift matters because Marner's contract structure involved signing bonuses. Without the bonus option, Toronto had less salary cap freedom. Feasibly, this made the decision to spread salary across depth players more practical. The move also gave general manager Brad Treliving room to focus on team defense or future trades. Still, star players often drive playoff success. At the end of the 2024-25 season, the Leafs led the Atlantic Division with a 52-26-4 record, but exited in the second round of the playoffs. Critics argued that spreading the cap money could weaken Toronto's top 6 forward group. Marner's departure stripped the team of a consistent playmaker during key moments. The Toronto offseason included other roster moves. The team signed veteran defenseman Dakota Mermis on July 2, 2024. They made other minor additions in 2025 too. These signings did not involve marquee names. They followed the depth-first approach, suggesting a broad rather than star-focused strategy. Still, the Leafs have not entirely ruled out trades. Reports from July 22, 2025 say the team is considering moving defenseman Morgan Rielly or Brandon Carlo to free up cap space for offense. That matches the Marner-level cap hit and would shift balance from defense to attack. These moves are in early stages as the front office evaluates its options. General manager Brad Treliving carried the public-facing role of this transition. He confirmed that acquiring Nicolas Roy was part of a plan to offset Marner's departure and said they would continue exploring options to bring in offense. The tone suggested an openness to deal further moves if needed. Trading Marner and bringing in 4 players for $10.5 million presented a shift in asset management. Some critics called it a failure, pointing to the inability to replace Marner's offense. Analyst Matt Larkin described the offseason as a massive failure and said the team may now lack scoring depth in a tough division. He expressed concern about the team's playoff positioning. Still, there is a counterpoint. Some commentators argued that Toronto can improve through a collective effort. A Hockey Writers article explained the plan as replacing Marner by committee, arguing that the combined output of multiple players could match one star's output. This suggests that the strategy is viable if the group performs as intended. Leafs coach Craig Berube stated after the season that he expects the new additions to take on roles in both scoring and grit. He pointed to Travis Boyd's energy and Roy's two-way game as strengths. That statement suggests a shift to a more balanced team identity. Revenue and fan engagement remain relevant. Marner's emotional farewell post on Instagram drew over 1 million engagements. "Leaving isn't easy. This city is where I grew up," he wrote. He added that wearing the Leafs jersey represented his home and childhood dream. His departure marked the end of a local story. That type of farewell normally commands positive legacy. Here it coincided with strategic change, fueling complexity. On January 23, 2026, Marner as a Vegas player will return to Toronto. Debate is rising about whether fans will welcome him or boo him. Some expect celebration. Some expect backlash. That game could define how this move settles into memory. It might be Toronto's most watched game of the season. The NHL's mid-career stars have long outlined contracts around returning home. Marner's 8-year Vegas deal prevented free agency. It kept him off the Detroit or Boston radar and confirmed that Vegas wanted him long-term. Toronto avoided a bidding war but lost a local star. The franchise's cap space will face other pressure points, like Austin Matthews' future deal and potential defenseman moves. Matthews lives in Arizona and pays U.S. taxes. That gives Toronto some flexibility with his big next agreement. The luxury tax and new bonus rules mean Toronto must think long-term. Marner's era started in 2015 and lasted through 2 playoff exits. His legacy includes 741 points, 102 points in his best season, and 63 playoff points. But his departure signals a marked change from the star-driven model. Now Toronto is aiming to win with depth. During the 2025-26 NHL transactions, the Leafs added veteran forwards Travis Boyd and Vinny Lettieri in free agency on July 1st and July 2nd, 2025. Tourney search. They signed Miroslav Holinka on July 15th. These moves were modest in scale compared to Marner's contract. They signal focus on role players. Brad Treliving has acknowledged that Toronto's options in free agency were limited. They pursued Nikolai Ehlers and Brock Boeser, but lost both to other teams. Turn 0, search 0. Those missed targets highlight the challenge of filling top 6 needs in a competitive market. All of these moves came before training camp. The Leafs will now test how the new group gels. Early preseason games will be watched closely to evaluate if the depth-focused roster can produce enough offense. If not, more trades may follow. Throughout the summer, Toronto has maintained a steady pace of adjustments. The roster has new faces in forward and defense. Morgan Rielly or Brandon Carlo could be moved before the season starts. Each step alters the team's core. Fans who once cheered Marner are now watching developments across social media and talk shows. Some post nostalgic clips from his best plays. Others debate if the new roster is strong enough. Ticket prices, merchandise, and season ticket renewals all serve as indicators the team follows. The move also raised questions about Canadian tax rules and player preferences. With Marner moving to Las Vegas, a city with no state income tax, he gains financial benefits beyond contract terms. That may limit Canadian teams' ability to hold on to Canadian-born stars. Toronto's decision to spread Marner's cap space over depth sets a test case for the NHL. If the plan works, other teams may follow. If it fails, it may close the door on leaving star-driven models behind. This offseason marks a turning point. The next 6 months will reveal if Toronto's plan was smart budgeting or a missed opportunity. The trades, signings, and strategy signal one thing: the Leafs no longer rely on one big name. They are betting on teamwork. As preseason unfolds, eyes will watch line combos, power play units, and depth scoring. The team's competitive level will show if this controversial plan can rival the star-powered rosters of rivals. No playoff win yet, but Toronto wants one, and they believe this is the way to get it.
Still need to do what's best for me and my family, and that's who you have to take care of first, but of course there's unfinished business here, yeah.
Connor McDavid's father, Brian McDavid, finally spoke out. For years, he stayed quiet about the early days of his son's journey, but now he broke his silence. What he said shocked fans, players, and even NHL reporters. It was clear, honest, and full of facts. His words gave everyone a real look into how it all began.
Connor has a long history with doing similar sort of training, small space reactive training. We actually started that when Connor was really young, at home, in our garage, and in our driveway, and Joe's program was the evolution of that.
And while Pep...
Brian McDavid was a hockey player in high school. He liked the Boston Bruins. Later, he became a coach. He helped run minor hockey teams in Ontario. He coached his son Connor from the start. For 6 years, he led Connor's teams. They played in York Simcoe. The team won 4 OMHA championships while he was coaching. Connor started skating when he was 3 years old. He played organized hockey at 4. His parents told the league he was 5 so he could join. He often played with older boys. He didn't mind. He liked the challenge. His dad helped train him every day. After school, Connor would do his homework. Then he would go outside and skate. He rollerbladed in the driveway. He shot pucks at a net. He timed himself on drills. He practiced the same things every day. His father said, "Connor is superstitious. We'd have to pass the ball the same number of times. We'd flip it up and bounce it, but if we dropped it, we had to start over again." That was part of his routine. They made a plan. They stuck to it. It was not easy, but it worked. One time, after a loss in a tournament, Connor sat in the car and cried. He said, "Promise me, you have to promise that you will do everything you can to make this team better next year." His dad remembered that day clearly. Connor played with York Simcoe Express. He wore the same jersey for many years. One season, he led the team to a 33-0 record. That year, they lost in a semifinal shootout. Later, they won the OHF Provincial Championship. They also played in the Quebec International Pee Wee Tournament. Connor's teammates included Sam Bennett. Some parents thought Connor got special treatment. Brian said, "Every year, the kids on the team would vote Connor as the captain, and every year, I would give it to someone else." He didn't want anyone to think Connor got things for free. He wanted everything to be fair. He said, "I haven't heard an inkling that he dislikes anything." This helped keep Connor grounded. Brian also coached Connor's older brother, Cameron. He said it was a gift to coach both boys. He wanted them to learn values. He told them to listen more than talk. He said it was important to be humble and kind. He also talked about Connor's hockey sense. He said it wasn't dramatic, but it was different. Connor could read the game better than others, even as a kid. Brian said Connor had a special way of knowing where to be on the ice. By age 14, Connor had won many youth tournaments. At 15, he was granted exceptional status by Hockey Canada. That let him enter the Ontario Hockey League a year early. Only 3 players had received that status before him. He joined the Erie Otters and later became captain of the Edmonton Oilers at 19. His father helped make that possible. He trained him with drills, games, and daily routines. He never forced him, but he made him focus. Brian said coaching was not always easy. Some days were hard, but most days were good. Connor later moved to the Toronto Marlboros. That was in 2011. Brian supported the change. He believed it was time. The Marlboros played in the GTHL. Connor scored 33 goals and 39 assists in 33 games. He was named the league's Player of the Year. Brian kept helping. When Connor faced trouble, he would call and talk to him. That helped. He said, "It's not hard. He's a great kid. My wife and I have 2 wonderful boys." He gave his time, his support, and his patience. He did not speak out in public, but now he has. He broke his silence in 2025. Fans finally heard his voice. They heard the truth about Connor's early years, about the drills, about the crying in the car, about the fairness with other kids, about the pressure. Everything came out. Connor played with focus because of that early training. He reached 100 points in the regular season at just 20 years old. He won the Art Ross Trophy 2 times before turning 21. His father was there for every step. He was not just a coach, he was a guide. Brian's words were not loud, but they were strong. He gave direct quotes. He gave facts. He described habits and memories that no one had heard before. This was the first time fans heard how much effort went into building one of the best hockey players alive. Connor worked hard, but Brian made the space for that work to matter. From ball drills to backyard nets, from car rides to team speeches, every part had a place. Every detail came from facts. Today, fans now know what happened behind the scenes. What Brian McDavid built was not just skill. It was daily structure. It was personal discipline. It was fairness. It was real. This wasn't just a story. It was a reveal, through the words of the man who saw it from day one. For the first time in years, Brian McDavid shared it all, and no one who heard him will forget it.